entirely possible. I'm the only person on this entire vast body of water paddling right now, especially since it's still icy out there. I can't make it any further along Great Bear Lake. It's just my route is blocked by ice. All right, team, listen up. Mr. Canoe, Mr. Blue Barrel, paddles, everyone, I need your attention. Backpack. We are going to be patient and we are going to wait until the ice melts out there, and then we can continue. So today is a lesson in patience. I know, like me, you're eager and you want to push on, but it's just too much of a risk. If we get stranded in that ice again, and then the wind picks up, it could take us way out into the heart of the lake, and that would be extremely bad. So team, I'm proud of the work we've done together, but right now we've got to try to be patient and just wait for that ice to melt. It seems like I'm not the first person to become stranded on this island. Here in the center of the island, it looks like a long time ago, someone once had a campfire here because these 4 rocks look like they've been placed here. And in the center of the rocks, there's some very old bones, some animal bones where somebody cooked something. So somebody else maybe was stranded on this island too. Who knows, if I follow it, maybe I'll find a pot of gold. Actually, I would be more happy just to find open water and no ice. I'll take that over the pot of gold. The longer I sit waiting for ice to melt, the less likely it becomes that I'll get all the way across the Arctic, and then I have to, reevaluate my goals, what I'm going to do on this journey. Still some pretty big ice flows out here, but most of the ice has melted. Iceberg dead ahead. Hard to starboard. Now I'm just trapped on a fog-bound coast here, and this one looks less inviting than the other one. I can see some swampy alder bushes back in there. There's somewhere out here in the woods, I know that there's ruins of Fort Confidence. Fort Confidence was built almost 200 years ago as a fur trade fort on Great Bear Lake, and there's not much left of it today. There's probably just some stone foundations, but I'm gonna go off into those thick spruce trees over there and see if I can find anything. And I see something up there. Looks like an old stone chimney just poking out of the undergrowth of the forest. And the fort itself would have been built out of spruce logs cut right here. And it's just kind of hacked through here. It's a little bit eerie. Kind of just seeing ruins in the middle of nowhere. Reminds you of the ghosts of the past, as it were. That, hundreds of years ago, there were explorers here before me. Oh, wow, that's really neat. Look at that. You can see the masonry work in there. So this is a chimney. We got some rocks down below. Wow, that's actually quite neat. A bit of wood sticking out of it, too. Everything else must have rotted away and been swallowed up by the forest over the last 200 years. These are granite rocks pulled out of the lakeshore there. Oh yeah, I can see straight up the chimney. I mean, it's a little bit eerie, the ghosts of the past, but it's also very fascinating from a historical perspective to think that hundreds of years ago, this forest here would have been cleared out and they would have had a fort with cannons and muskets and high wooden walls. The river I'm trying to find is named after the guy who was in charge of this fort, Dease. So I'm looking for the Dease River. Well, let's get back down to the canoe. I don't like to leave my canoe for too long. We get kind of separation anxiety when we're apart, so I tied it up down there on the water, and I better get back to it.
He was really curious, but then I accidentally made a noise with my paddle. He ran off. He got scared.
Poor sock, just trying to get dry in the sun, and the bugs are just swarming it.
Somewhere out here in the forest should be the remains of Douglas's cabin from over a century ago. And I think I see it up here. Yeah, I can see it now. So just the parts of the walls are left, but the roof has collapsed. In over 100 years, the elements have done that to it. But there's the inside of the cabin. And you can see over there in the corner, this was his, this would have been his fireplace over here. I mean, the preservation's pretty good in this cold environment, right? It's a pretty dry environment despite the snow. So things don't rot that well, but in 100 years, the roof has collapsed. But there it is down in there. So that would have been his hearth. Very important for the long, cold Canadian winter. And that's all that remains of it. You can see the construction along the side. And just very slowly, the forest is gonna swallow it up and it'll vanish into the wilderness. And there won't be anything left of it. But now I gotta get back to the canoe and continue my own journey upriver. Last night when I was setting up my tent, I discovered there was a hole in it, a little small hole in the screen here, and I was inside my tent at the time and I had nothing to patch it with other than a bandage. But now I've got my duct tape, so I'm gonna make a little more proper repair to the mesh there so the bugs cannot find a way in and bite me in the middle of the night. There's just an unbelievable number of those horseflies on this beach and all over the river. You can see there's just a bunch of them accumulating inside my tent, or under the tent fly. There's one right there. And they're big suckers. And when they bite you, it feels almost more like a bee sting. And if you want to see what it looks like, it's like a welt where one got me right there on the shin today. Another one bit me down there. Millions of mosquitoes and black flies, just swarms of them all over the place down there on my gear, and just they're so bad that I'm just not even gonna brush my teeth this morning because I can't take this bug net off to brush my teeth with like millions of mosquitoes buzzing all over the place. So I'm just gonna go. Skies are dark and I can see that a storm is coming, so I just kind of want to batter down the hatches, secure all the gear. I had a quick fire, made some herbal tea and some dinner really fast, and I just threw my backpack under there, my paddle, and I'm going to jump in the tent. You don't want to be caught out in the open with the storm. This tent's been pretty strong so far, but this is the first real big test of it. Good. It's intensifying, definitely intensifying. You know, there's something about a storm alone in the wilderness. You can get on your nerves a little, but I've been through a heck of a lot of storms in the wilderness, like probably over 50 of them.
and you just have to wait it out and try to. Geez, my pen is really flying around all over the place.